What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a chat about some new cards from EB-01. It is, of course, lovely that we did get the EB-07 reveal. I did cover that the other day. Go check out that video. It is linked in the description. Today, what we're focusing on is EB-01, a bunch of cards that have been revealed, and frankly, a bunch of cards that look good. Now, these have come out from magazines, and once again, the colours are washed out, and I don't really know why. There's no real excuse for it. Doesn't really matter. We've got some new cards. I've translated them myself, and I'm pretty proud of this, because these were not, a couple of these, the easiest ones to translate, and I did it myself, and I am delighted. I have checked with a lovely Orange Samurai D who's checked with Ray and Tatsugi, but I just want it on the record that I did these myself, and I was correct, and I'm delighted. So let's start off then with Sanji, one of the most popular characters in the One Piece TCG, although, I'm going to be honest with you, if you compare the Sanji alternate art to the Zoro alternate art, which I did the other day, Zoro is miles ahead as it stands. And what we've got is a film Sanji. We've got green film Straw Hat Crew. We got 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000, which is pretty good. And then Don X1, during your turn, for each free rested Don, I found out that Nitsugi means for each. For every free rested Don on your field, you gain 1,000 power. Now, obviously, we're limited to 10 Don, because there's only 10 Don in your Don deck. So that means that if you've got 9 or 10 rested Don, you're gaining an extra 3,000 power. But remember, this is a Don X1 skill. So, really, you need 1 Don on here, and then you need 3 rested Don. But then this becomes a 9,000 power character. A 4 cost 9,000 power character. That is potentially absurd. And yes, I know it does take away some other options. I'm fully aware of that. But firstly, you've got counter plus 2,000, which is always a good thing. Secondly, it is a green film card. We know we love green film. And we've got stuff like Nami, for instance, which will search out your green film. And this is, of course, a 2,000 power counter, which means that you can search it out as a 2k counter if nothing else, but then you've got a potential for being up to a 9k 4 cost character. Yeah, and we know green film is good. Green film has been seeing a whole bunch of play. Now we've got a potential very powerful green film character. Oh yeah, but while we're here, it's also counter plus 2,000. This is pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. This is pretty good. As a side note, you can play this for free using the film Luffy, because Luffy is a film or straw hat of a cost of 4 or less, and this is, incidentally, both. This is a very good card. One that I adore here, I love the design of this card, it is Shiroshi. Now, we got a 2 cost, 0 power, counter plus 1,000 here, and being Shiroshi here, obviously we're talking yellow. And I love this card. I think this is such a fun design card. Firstly, it's got blocker. Blocker is good. And look, you got 0 power. So as a blocker, you suck. This is a, yay, I blocked once and I'm gone. Like, that's what you're doing here. You block once, you go, that's it, all right? But you're still getting a block off. You're still blocking an attack. It's one attack, just one, and then you're done. Fine, but you're still getting a block, all right? That's relevant. But the second skill here, or really the first if you read it top to bottom, when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life, or onto the top of your life. How cool is that? And of course, we see this all the time. The fact that you don't really want blockers on the field because the blocker's going to take away your attack. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to essentially play around the blockers, take them off the field, and then when they're off the field, then you can attack. Well, here, if you do that, you give your opponent a life. It reminds me very much of the Borsalino that is a blocker, but cannot be KO'd by effects. So you've essentially got to go through it. This isn't exactly the same as that. Borsalino cannot be KO'd by effects. This can be KO'd by effects, but if you do that, you have to let your opponent take an extra life. Or maybe put an extra life out is a better way to phrase it. Either way, it's a new super rare, and it really feels like a super rare. This seems like a very, very cool effect, and Shiroshi is getting some love. Like, I know Shiroshi wasn't a tiny, tiny minor character, but she wasn't exactly one of the main characters in One Piece, and she is getting some love from the card designers. Another super rare we can have a look at here is Miss Wednesday. We've got a purple character here, 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and it's another blocker. So we got another super rare, we got another blocker, okay, fine. But when your opponent attacks, once per turn, Don -1, if your leader has the Baroque Works type, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck active. Cool. Kind of. I mean, it's Don -1, so basically you use a Don, it's sitting out there rested, you then minus the Don, and then put it out active. It's a roundabout way of just essentially resetting a Don. You get rid of a Don, but then you get your Don back, and you get it active, and it's on your opponent's turn, so it's available to use for event cards or things of that nature. And honestly, this is pretty good. But then, of course, we need to ask the question, well, what Baroque work leaders do we actually have? And as it stands at the moment, we've got Crocodile. Now, that could be the Crocodile from EB-01 that is blue and purple, so would totally work. Or it could be the Crocodile from EB-04, which is yellow and purple, which would totally work. Not the Crocodile from Starter Deck 3, obviously, because that is a mono blue card. And Miss Wednesday here is purple. So that wouldn't actually work, unfortunately. That one you're not going to be able to get. Feel free to be upset about that. That's fine. But that's just where we are. You can't have that one. Sorry. But we do have a couple of options here for Baroque Works purple leaders, if that's the kind of thing you're into. So, yeah. Could be fun. Although before we move on, maybe I should remind you what the EB-04 Crocodile does. On your opponent's turn once per turn, when you return Don from your field to the Don deck, through one of your effects, add a Don from your Don deck active. And you'll notice that this is a skill that comes on during your opponent's turn, and puts a Don back to your Don deck. So you know how I said this is basically a roundabout way of just making one of your Don active? Because you take away a rested Don and replace it with an active Don. Well, this is the kind of reason why it's not just set one of your Don to active. Because if you use Miss Wednesday here, you Don -1. Oh, my leader's Baroque Works. It's during my opponent's attack. I get to add a Don deck active. Or Don from my Don deck active. Oh, wait a second. It's during my opponent's turn and I've just returned a Don from my field to the Don deck through my own effect. Better add another Don active. Yeah, that leader just got a whole bunch better. And it's a blocker to boot. But not to be outdone, we've got a Yamato here to finish us off. 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000 red card. And we've got here, I actually kind of like this one. Activate main. Once per turn, attach a rested Don to your leader or one of your characters. And here's the thing. It is activate main once per turn. It is not trash this character, rest this character, return this character to your hand, or anything along those lines. There's no other downside here. You just only get to do it once during your turn. Which is actually, like, really, really, really good. Because you still get to attack with this character or do anything else that you would otherwise be doing. You just get arrested Don attached to a character as well. Of course, don't forget that is the same skill that we see on Starter Deck 1 Monkey to Luffy, which is pretty gosh darn good. Or indeed, Starter Deck 1 Nami, and it is literally the exact same skill as Starter Deck 1 Nami. And you could, if you wanted to here, ramp up pretty nicely and just get a whole bunch of rested Don being attached turn after turn after turn. Of course, the Nami hasn't seen a huge amount of play, and the Luffy leader has really fallen off in terms of popularity. But then again, Nami was never a good attacker. And Nami's got counter plus 1,000. This is a decent attacker because you've got 5,000 power. That is the minimum you need to attack and have a reasonable expectation that it might go through. And you've got counter plus 2,000. So, yeah, I know Nami's a 1 cost, but make no mistake, Yamato here is just like a billion times better, albeit a bit more expensive. This is a common card, but it is a card which I like a lot here, and I think red decks are going to like this very much indeed. Right, there we go. That's what you need to know, ladies and gentlemen, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Tell me which ones you like. Tell me which ones you don't. Tell me if you're delighted that Sanji finally gets a film card when, like, all the other Straw Hats got them back in OP02. And frankly, it's a bit weird we had to wait so long to get a Sanji film card. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.